Yeah, I'm going to just give you an update on our Project Grow. GROW is an acronym for Growing Rotational Crops on Well Fields. And this well field is the city of York's well field. The blue border is the total well field of the city of York. That's in blue. It's about 480 acres total. Our demonstration is on the land with the yellow dots around it. So we have two fields that are about 60 acres apiece. And the little red outline is our pollinator habitat plot. And then we also have some community gardens and fruit trees and berries. That's in that kind of lime green right east of the new softball complex. So our Project Grow emphasizes number one, soil health, but as I mentioned, we also have a pollinator habitat and a community garden. And cover crops are this is a picture of a cover crop field we have out at our old crop tip demonstration field. And cover crops are plants that are planted in between cash crops, and they protect and improve the soil health. So you hear a lot about cover crops now, and they're getting to be more popular. Like I say, it's a way to have something growing in the field year-round to capture sunlight and put more carbon in the soil. The 5 principles of soil health are soil armor, which is a protection on the soil, leftover residue, or cover crop, minimal soil disturbance, plant diversity, the continual live plant or continual live root, and livestock integration. So those are kind of the 5 principles of soil health. Like I mentioned before, one of the big benefits of soil health, of course, is to protect the soil. You know, the soil can do a lot of things, but one thing it cannot do is protect itself from the wind, heavy rainfall. And so if we leave a residue or a cover on the soil, we can protect that soil. And this is just a picture of a bottom picture, of course, is a field with a residue left over, and you probably can't see it, but there is some rye coming through the stubble here. So we do have a living root there also. Versus the top picture is just a dished up field. There's nothing there to protect the soil and nothing growing. Another benefit of cover crops is weed suppression. I think one of the biggest challenges farmers face in the upcoming years is herbicide-resistant weeds. And cover crops do a really good job of suppressing these weeds. This was a picture of our last year at the crop tip demonstration site. We kind of went to soil health there too last year, but these were 2 cornfields side by side. The bottom cornfield was had conventional tillage, and the top cornfield had cover crops the year before, and we had planted right into the cover crop stubble. But they both had the same early season treatments with a burn down. But as you can see, the bottom field later in the year had pretty good weed pressure, whereas our top field, actually it's got that mat of cover crop residue, and it really did an excellent job of keeping the weeds down. Soil health benefits for cover crops. A big advantage when you do plant cover crops, if you can use a mix of cover crops. One crop is better than nothing, but if you can get 5 or 6 different types of plants in your cover crop mix, there's a lot of benefits. This is a picture of showing the different root systems in different cover crops. You get some shallow fibrous roots. You can get like a deep tap root, deep fibrous roots. You can see all kinds of root structures. And this helps the plants transport sugars down to the roots, and they kind of secrete carbon into the soil. And so with different root types, we get that benefit at different levels in the soil. Our first year out at Project Grow, we planted triticale following soybeans. This was October 1st, 2017. We had, I believe this is Larry Moore's no-till drill that we rented from him. This was the field after we harvested it. The field, the picture on the right, that has been harvested. We used a stripper head, which is on the photo on the left, which just plucks the grain off. It does not remove any stubble. It just takes the grain heads and it leaves the stubble. After that, we applied 6 tons of cattle manure that we purchased. You just don't go to somebody and say, hey, can I get some of your manure anymore? We had to go through a manure broker. All the manure in these feedlots is all accounted for. It's all, it's a very sought after item. And this tractor and spreader is from Lee, Nebraska. They spread it on. So it's not like it used to be with the old manure spreader. But as you can see, going through the field, you can see how tall that residue is. So and we did that on purpose. We wanted to have that residue still there. So then we planted, this is October 27th. We planted the cover crops in July, and you can see we got a good stand, a good mix of grasses, brassicas, which are turnips, radishes. We had some legumes in there, cowpeas. And so we had a good mix of, and we had a good growth. So then we introduced livestock into the mix. We had about 150 cows that people brought in, and we divided the field into different, roughly 10-acre paddocks with electric fence. And we moved the cows about every 4 days. Took them about 4 days to eat the crop residue down. You can see the corner, down the corner of the right there is a field after they got done grazing it. And the one on the left is what it looked like before we turned them in. And the cows in that picture are getting ready to, we're just getting ready to move them. And first time we moved them, we had to chase them over. We had to kind of round them up and get them into where the gate was and chase them over. But after they learned they were going to a new field, after that, in about 4 days, they were waiting at the gate. All we had to do was open the gate, and they'd go right over. So a big advantage here is to recycle the above ground biomass and recycle it through livestock. And through the feces, urine, it really stimulates biological activity in the soil. And Again, there's our community garden by the field, by the softball complex. We have about 15 garden plots now that people use to grow their own food, fruits, vegetables, whatever they want to grow there. And then again, our pollinator habitat, of course, I think everybody's becoming aware how important pollinators are. And, you know, there's different types of pollinators. There's bees, butterflies, but there's also beetles and bats, birds. These all contribute to pollination, but they have to have the plants there so they can stay alive. Okay, these were our Project Grow sponsors. City of York, of course, I think Crystal mentioned these already. And City of York, Conservation Nebraska, okay. Any questions on this? We don't have our full results from this year. We did have a field of corn and soybeans. We did plant rye after the corn and beans were harvested in all fields. We're going to keep one field for cash crop of rye next year that we haven't sold to the cover crop business at Dayton. We've got that sold already, and I think we're going to plant beans in the other field. And I guess with the idea we're going to try and keep something growing there in between the cash crops all the time. Initially or eventually we're going to try and increase our soil health, so our inputs are going to be very low. We can use a lot less commercial fertilizer, less herbicides, less insecticides, and at the same time keep any nitrates from getting into York's city water. Cover crops do an excellent job of any residual nitrate, nitrogen. They sequester that up into the above ground biomass, and they hold it there until the next year's crop can use it. So big advantage there. So I guess the main thing is soil health and keeping nitrates out of York's groundwater. Yeah.
Someone's on a corn rotation, most of the time they're not finished harvesting most of their stuff till the middle of October. Well, how much value is there in a cover crop?
Well, in that scenario, in a corn-on-corn situation, probably your best bet there is cereal rye. That can be planted in October, and still you can get a plant, a living plant growing. It's not going to be real tall, but you know you don't need a whole lot of above ground growth to get some benefit, because as long as you have a living root in the soil, you're capturing what sunlight there is. You're photosynthesizing, you're sending those sugars down in the root, and those roots are exuding carbon. So even, I know it's tough around here to use cover crops because we just don't have a lot of growing season left after corn. But it can be done maybe especially if you're going back and forth with beans. If you can get some beans out by the middle of September, third week in September, you can get some pretty good growth with even radishes and turnips and rye. That makes a good mix.